Hello, people. So, I have a word of encouragement for believers, especially in this time, in this season, with, you know, where it kind of feels like the spiritual warfare is a little bit intense, just a tad bit, just a little. The Lord's been speaking to me about humility, right? And it might seem so trivial in the grander scheme of spiritual warfare, but just listen to this, and I believe it'll help a lot of us. So I've been thinking about that verse in 1 Peter 5 where it says that we should be sober-minded, vigilant, because the devil prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. So I was just meditating on that verse and just also looking up like how it is a lion, hunts its prey and all of that. And it was just refreshing to remind myself that, hey, the enemy is not a big boogeyman that's going to come jump at me, but he's actually like a lion that is, lurking, staying hidden, monitoring, studying his prey studying his prey to look for the opportune time to go in for the kill, right? So lions, they are super fast, but they can only do high speeds for a short distance. So hence why they will kind of ambush their prey is what they need to do. They need to study it, need to monitor it and ambush it. But when you look at that verse in that chapter and you read a bit further, Peter's writing to, the younger people within the church, and he's basically giving them instruction to submit themselves to the elders. And he hones in, he hammers on this aspect of humbling themselves. He says, humble yourselves, submit yourselves to the elders, humble yourselves before the Lord, because in due time he will exalt you. He says, God resists the proud but gives grace to the humble. And then so he hammers in on humility, humbling yourself, submitting yourself under the mighty hand of God. Then he tells them to cast their anxieties on God because he cares for them. God cares for us, so we should cast our anxieties on him. Then he gives this whole analogy about the devil being like a lion. And then he tells them, so resist him by standing firm in your faith, knowing, that word knowing stood out to me, knowing that your brothers and sisters around the world are experiencing the same suffering. They're also experiencing suffering, right? So I was just thinking about how the enemy would try to ambush us. And I was thinking about like why Peter was honing in on this humility. And I was just thinking about how the enemy would try to ambush you during a time of suffering, when you're experiencing injustice, inequality, unfairness, whatever kind of suffering you're going through, the enemy would try to ambush you, us, me, to basically not humble ourselves, not submit ourselves and humble ourselves under the mighty hand of God. Try to ambush us so that we would step out of humility, which is obviously pride, but go into a space where we take matters into our own hands. So now, when we're in pride, the word says that God resists the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. And I was just so mind blown because, when you are constantly engaged in prayer and things are feeling intense and you're feeling like you're being attacked and you're feeling it's just the spiritual warfare is so intense, you kind of forget the basics of the basics. And, I don't know if it's in Ephesians as well, because where they talk about the armor, putting on the armor and resisting the enemy. And then it again emphasizes submit yourself, resist the devil, submit yourself to I need to look up that verse, but submit yourself to God, resist the devil, and he shall flee. So the submitting aspect of humbling yourself under the mighty hand of God, not taking matters into, not you being the judge, not you being the vindicator, but allowing God to be that, because he will exalt you in due time. So anyways, my encouragement is that for us to be vigilant and awake is to recognize how the enemy is trying to ambush you. So recognize in your day where you are tempted to step out of humility and step into pride. Humility is exalting God's way, God's word, God's commands above our own. So, in times of suffering is that opportune time for the enemy to ambush us, to get out of humility, to not submit ourselves under that mighty hand of God. And so that's my encouragement for us as believers, as prayer warriors, as people just perhaps feeling a bit of the spiritual warfare being a bit intense. Submit yourself under the mighty hand of God. And that's all. Bye.